Hello, I'm Romolo Tschantret and welcome back to another series of what is developed in space technology. One thing they're talking about is a matter-antimatter explosion to make the spaceship go faster in space so they can achieve the distance that they want to achieve. The belief is that when injecting matter with antimatter, it creates an explosion that will propel the ship faster through space in a quicker time. If you were to look at any spaceship that's been built or any spaceship that's been imagined, an explosion like that eventually will rip apart the ship itself. Just think about this, and this is the part that you really have to think about with this technology that they're thinking about or talking about being a possibility. A nuclear bomb exploding, pushing your ship forward. Now, for a couple times, I don't care what kind of metal that they have, after a certain amount of explosions, it will distort the actual propulsion system. Because no matter what kind of metal that they have, it will bend after a while. It's like hitting a hammer on metal. After a while, the metal bends. So what would happen is the ship will be going straight. After each explosion, it will start to alter the metal itself, and then it starts to spiral and spiral because it can't keep a straight pattern because of the metal being distorted from the blast. That's one thing that they talk about. And so we see that that is not feasible, practical, or possible. Another thing is, which is really fantastic, and Einstein's talked about it, Stephen Hawking's talked about it, many other scientists have talked about it, is traveling through a black hole. You have to really laugh at it because thinking about passing through a black hole, technology will never get up to that point in a million years. First of all, they say that a black hole has a gravitational pull strong enough to even suck in light, could destroy planets. It breaks down the atom to the finite materials of atoms. Let me see you put a ship through that. So we can see this is a fantasy world that they want everybody to believe is possible. Everything is possible on television. It is not possible in reality. And so when they tell you that they were developing, we're working on, something's going to be achieved soon, think about it for yourself. If a black hole has gravity so strong to do what they say it does, it is impossible to believe that you can go through it and then end up someplace else. If you were to go through it and ended up someplace else, you would be dead. The voyage is voided. It doesn't matter if you even could reach a black hole in 100,000 years, moving the distance that we're moving today, or even in the near future. Another wonderful thing is that these scientists are talking about, which is really fantastic, is a wormhole. It's really interesting how they make it seem so real. Has anyone stated that they've seen a wormhole? Absolutely. On television. You know, all the space programs, they all have wormholes. But have they ever detected a wormhole? Absolutely not. Where do the wormholes come from? They don't know. Where do they end up? They don't know. How do you go into a wormhole? They don't know. Where do you come out of a wormhole? They don't know. So all these things, if they don't know, means they really don't know. But they throw in a scenario. If you put one factor in a scenario to be possible, then possibly all the other scenarios could happen. But if the original scenario cannot happen and is impossible to happen, then nothing in that scenario could happen at all. So we see all these speculations, possibilities, assumptions are all lies. All the calculations that they make, all the variables that they're counting in, they cannot possibly know them all. It's absolutely impossible. And scientists say that themselves. Things change in space. The factors of what is on Earth and what is in space are totally different. So they don't really know even what they're talking about. But what makes them money is saying that we possibly can make this happen in the near future. It's 2015. In the near future, 2,000,000,015, it could be and should be possible. See, they give that long variation of time, so then when they're dead and they got their paycheck and it doesn't come true, well, who are you going to blame for spending all that money? Who are you going to blame for paying the person all this money for all the assumptions that they made that are not true? They made their payments. They made their bills. So that's what they got all the funding for their research that is not possible. So that's what I like to bring about in this series of when we really think about it, what they're talking about, give yourself the opportunity to throw in all the factors and listen to what they say. Scientists believe the theories are achievable if factors were included. We're gaining so much knowledge today that in the near future there's a possibility of this happening. They have all these catchphrases. So they're not responsible. When we see the reality of the way that they're speaking and what they're saying, we see that the funding is going into research that is not possible. And the main thing that I'd like to point out is today is everything is possible if you put the impossible in the equation. So, and that's what they're doing. Let's throw in an impossibility. Like, let's use the example of the wormhole. If a wormhole came into our galaxy, and if we knew it was possible to go through it, if we knew where it would end up, then we could possibly go through if the gravity wasn't strong in it and there was some kind of aerial spaces that we could get into where our ship would not get damaged, then we could achieve this by going through this wormhole and getting to another universe, another time span, another dimension. So again, if the wormhole is possible and came up right in front of the Earth where the rockets, before they ran out of gas, reached it to get to the other place, and if it was possible to get to that place, and I know I'm overemphasizing the same thing that I'm talking about, but that's what they're giving you the information on. And not only do they give it to you, but they get 10 other colleagues to agree with them to give it more authenticity of their lies. So it shows that they get into this groupage and say, listen, we need funding to research these probabilities, so if we get together, we can share in the funding of seeing if it is possible that these things would occur. It is not possible, but they use the word everything is possible if some possibility comes about. So again, I'd like you to really think about it. And the next time you see these TV shows and you hear what they say, you will see that they put in these words, and they're so eloquent in speech that they make it seem that it's possible, not probable, but very possible of happening.